You're going to be so surprised. I've been traveling full time since 2022. Last year, I decided to do a cost breakdown to see how much I had spent. And now it's kind of become this tradition. This year, I did Colombia, Brazil, Albania, Greece, Spain, Portugal, Morocco, Dubai, and right now I'm in Bali. You're about to see which of these was most pricey, how much I spent on flights, Airbnbs, and of course, my recommendations so you can decide if this is something that you'd like to do too. We're jumping straight in. This graph I sorted from least pricey to most pricey, and I can bet money on it that no one is going to guess who's coming in as number one. So coming in as the least expensive, drum roll. We're gonna move this down, and we have Rio for $331. Now, I need to give a little bit of context. While my goal is to spend at least 1 month in each place, sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. Number one, because the flights just don't line up. Number two, because of personal reasons, like I want to fly back to Miami for an event or something that I have going on, so that way I have to cut it short. And number three, simply not a place that I would like to spend a month in. And for Rio, Brazil, it was number three. So I only spent 4 days there. The places where I did complete my full month were Crete, Greece, Dubai, and Albania. The places where I spent 2 months, which this is completely new. I didn't do this last year. This is the first time basically where I've been like, this is such a cool place, let me extend. That happened in Florianopolis, Brazil, which to this day is one of my favorite places. Medellin, Colombia, and not just because I'm Colombian, literally it was such a great place to get cozy, have a routine. Like, it's really, really nice. I can definitely see why so many foreigners are loving it right now. And then there's this long list of places, which I hadn't realized how many places I kind of just like puzzle pieced in, because my rule is literally usually a full month in each, and somehow all of these ended up here. So having that context, you're going to obviously understand why the first ones are obviously where I've spent the least amount of time. So as you saw, Rio was coming in as number one for $331, and we continue to number two. Paris layover, this was just 1 night, but in full transparency, these are all my travel costs, so it does still have to go in here. Next, we have Germany for that Adele concert, $580, and this is in food, transportation, everything which you're going to see later on when I divide it into categories. Bucios, Brazil, the town that I'm telling you everybody needs to go to. Honestly, it's giving like honeymoon beach vibes, like so peaceful, so tranquil. I'd recommend it to anybody. Marrakesh for $1,528. Marrakesh was actually one of the places where I was like, wow, I wasn't expecting it to be as pricey as it is. And obviously here, it's coming in as one of the least ones, but I spent only 7 days there. So you're gonna see when I start comparing it like proportionally to the amount of time, and you're gonna see where Marrakesh comes in. Next, we have San Andres, the Colombian island that I was telling you about. This price, I would say, is kind of a bit higher compared to the normal Colombian price, because first of all, San Andres is completely remote. It's nowhere near Colombia. It's actually closer to Panama and Nicaragua, and it is the most stunning and iconic place if you are a scuba diver. So obviously diving with a good place, what goes into that cost. And we keep making our way down to Valencia for $3,383. Now, Valencia is definitely coming in at a high price, but it still wasn't a month. Valencia was only 2 weeks. The ones that you see that have the names in bold means that I followed my rule of staying at least 1 month there. So coming in as number one, Albania for $5,590. Next, we have Lisbon for $5,661. This is for a full month. You'll get the disclaimers in just a minute so you know exactly what's going into this cost. Next, we have Crete, Greece, $5,701 for a full month. Dubai for $5,880, which I know is super surprising. There's a full video on the Dubai cost breakdown over here. And then Medellin, $9,738. And last but not least, coming in as the most pricey, we have Florianopolis, Brazil for $10,563. Now, of course, disclaimer, because the last two are the ones that I spent 2 months at. But of course, when I'm downloading like the credit card statement to literally get everything related to cost, I can't really see like which one was for which month. So that's why I put them together. If we actually look at it and we divide the ones that I spent 2 months at and we multiply the ones that I spent either 1 week at or 2 weeks at, we would actually get this chart over here. So we have this chart that it's the same one that you just saw, but here are the real values. So if I would have spent a full month in these would actually be the prices, considering that I'm spending the same that I did in those 2 weeks. You know what I mean? So Bucios, 2,222, Marrakesh, 4,583, San Andres, 6,496, Valencia 6,765, Albania 5,590, Lisbon 5,661, Crete, Greece 5,701, Dubai 5,880, Medellin 4,869, and then Florianopolis 5,281. Now, if we're sorting this and seeing which one's actually coming in as the least and most expensive for a full month, here's how the chart changes. Bucios, Marrakesh, Medellin, Florianopolis, Albania, Lisbon, Crete, Dubai, San Andres, and lastly, Valencia, Spain. This is something that I would definitely never have imagined, never have thought of. I don't know what it was that we did in Valencia, but coming in is higher than Dubai. Honestly, I think if you just tell me and you list off, I would have picked most pricey Dubai, least pricey probably Medellin or something like that. But from here we can see that it's kind of average. The costs are kind of proportionate, which is something that I have always noticed. Whenever you're doing groceries, you notice that around the world, it's not like before. It's not like Asia and South America have a drastically different cost of living. Not really. If you're always trying to maintain the same style of life throughout the places that you go to, it kind of at the end of the day gets pretty proportional. So this brings our totals by location to $52,070. Now this isn't the total because there are some things that didn't belong to any location, but they are travel related costs, which you're going to see in the next table that I'm going to show you, where I divide it by category. It's such an eye-opening moment for me, and it breaks so many stigmas that we have that traveling has to be super expensive, that this country is always going to be a lot more than this one. And we're literally seeing how that's not always the truth. And like I always say it, my style of traveling isn't budget, and it's also not super luxury. I'd say it's right down the middle. You can obviously spend way less and you can obviously spend way more. But this also makes us realize that those statements that people make, yeah, go to Asia, go to South America and live off of $1,000. No, I definitely don't think that's true. Now, before jumping into the totals on Airbnb, flights, and everything by categories, I have to add some disclaimers, because in the video last year, I got a lot of questions. So I want to make sure the disclaimers are very clear. You know exactly what is going into these costs. The costs that you're seeing for each city and even by the categories, these are only travel related costs. So this excludes phone bills, insurance, personal things, home things, things that we have back in South Florida. Obviously, all business expenses. As you guys know, I have an agency, so that excludes all business related costs. And keep in mind that you can do a lot of business related costs, like eating out if you're having a business meeting, if you're meeting also with coworkers or people that you have on your team, books, coffees when we're working remotely. All those things count as business expenses, and those are not included in these totals. And super duper important, these are costs for two people, and two people meaning a couple. And this is very important because yes, you see the cost and it's okay, cool. Yeah, I can grab a friend. Yes. But also keep in mind, we're a couple. So we're sharing a bed, we're sharing lots of things. So it's costs for a shared space, two people living in it, and everything is in US dollars. Moving on to my favorite part, the cost going by categories. And I'm so glad this Bali sun is coming out right now, because it's currently rainy season and it's been pouring. Contrary to the first table, in this table, we're going from the highest to the least pricey, because obviously when traveling, the highest costs are the most important. We're talking Airbnbs, hotels, accommodations, flights. And I know that's the good stuff, the juicy stuff that you guys all want to know about. I almost forgot to say, this is costs from January 2024 all the way until November 2024. I couldn't add December because the month hasn't ended yet. Airbnb's, drumroll, comes out to $16,451. Next, we go down to dining, $9,400. $6,405. Flights, $6,419. Groceries, $3,782. A drastic drop from last year, which I don't know why this was. I think maybe because of the dining increase. And if you haven't checked out last year's full cost breakdown, I'm gonna leave it linked up here and in the comments below. Cash, $2,352. This is for all the times that we've withdrawn cash this entire year, because some places are more cash based. Like Marrakesh was super cash based. Medellin is also super cash based. Not super, but you need to have cash on you. Activities, $2,332. Lodging, $2,235. Now let me add here that this year I decided to separate Airbnbs from lodgings, because Airbnb is for sure where I'm staying a month at. Lodging is those one night hotels up to 7 days. But for sure, if I'm staying long term, I'm always going to pick the Airbnb route because I'm comfortable. I have a full kitchen. I also forgot to mention, but I work full time if you guys didn't know. So I need a place to work. Like I want to have my routine fully in check. And that, in my opinion and my experience, can only be done when you're comfy, when you have your space. And that's what Airbnb has been for me. Transportation, $2,081. Beauty, $1,774. This is barbershop, haircut, nail salons, massages. Car rental, $1,674. Storage, $1,579. This is one of the costs that were not added in the previous table because it doesn't really belong to any location. It's just a life travel cost that we have because we did leave a storage back in Florida with all the things that we had when we moved out of the apartment and decided to start traveling full time. Shopping, $1,563. Gym, $730. Gas, $502 for those moments when we have rented a car. Pharmacy, $492. Scooter rental, $138. Laundry, $116, and parking, $20. Bringing our total for a full year of travel, this is the final, including everything that we have travel related at home and in the various locations, to, drumroll, $53,649. Which is super interesting because it's a decrease compared to last year's, which is definitely not something I was expecting. If I'm being fully transparent, I definitely feel like our spending has gone up this year. So I wanted to compare the different categories, and that's where we see this. Last year in Airbnb and lodging, the total came out to $22,710. This year, adding both Airbnb and lodging, we have a total of $18,686. So that's definitely where a huge big difference was. And another difference this year, and I'm thinking that it's probably because of these reasons. Last year we spent $8,114 on flights. This year, that total came out to $6,419. And I honestly attribute it to, number one, the fact that we stayed longer and we extended. So it was less flights. We extended in Brazil and we extended in Colombia. And number two, we started using the Capital One price match program, which has definitely saved us so much money because honestly, everything else increased. If you haven't heard about the Capital One price match program, it's something that I talk about and I recommend to absolutely everyone I meet because we've saved so much money. What's that saying? Like the proof is in the pudding, because you can see how our numbers have drastically changed for a full year of travel this year compared to last year. Both Gabe and I use the Capital One Venture X. We each have one, which means that we also combine miles and then we can turn it into rewards like business class flights. You book and you get a ton of travel rewards. You get all the perks, the priority pass, the TSA, the global entry, you get all that. But Price Match Program is the internal booking system that Capital One has, where you book your flights, hotels, car rentals, all kinds of things from their actual portal. My favorite is for flights. That's honestly the primary one that I use because obviously I'm not booking that many hotels. I'm going straight to Airbnb and I'm spending a full month there. So I'm not really like a hotel person, but I am a flight girly. And you always compare with Google Flights. And you book it through Capital One because you get 5 times more miles, which obviously then you can turn into more flights. But the greatest thing is that if you see the price match from Google Flights and it's on the airlines, like the official airline's website, and it's a difference in price because it usually is, then you book it, you call Capital One, you call this number that I'm gonna leave on the screen. And in literally 1 minute, they'll ask, okay, what was the difference? You found it on the airline, they verify, okay, great, it's in your account, bye. And that's it. And we've saved, honestly, This year, I've called maybe 5 times. Each time we save at least $50, $50 to like $100 per ticket is usually like the range. So it's good money. Second absolute travel must-have is a VPN. Make sure you're safe, to make sure that you're logging into your accounts without being spammed. I was using another competitor before, and now I'm using this one, so I'm testing it out, and I will let you know my feedback later on in the next couple of months. I'll let you know if I like it. If I don't, I definitely think it's at a better price point than all the other VPNs I've found, so I really like that about this one, and it's also more user-friendly. And obviously, last but not least, I think a huge difference also in the flights is baggage fees. I have become a carry-on girly, which was never me. I was the type of person that traveled with 3 luggages like going across the street. And I realized that when you're staying long-term, first of all, you're gonna wear the clothes that you like to wear. So you're gonna repeat your favorite clothes. You're always gonna have a laundry. You save so much time, so much like stress from not worrying about your luggage, not having to go wait in line to check it in, because there are so many airports where that part of the airport is just a mess. We check in online and whoop, you skip the whole line. You land, you don't have to wait for any baggage. You don't have to wait to see if it got lost, if it even made it. Nope, you walk straight out to your Uber and boom, you're done. For somebody that's at the airport every month, it's hours that I'm saving and money that I'm saving by using a carry-on. You guys know that my hack is the carry-ons that open up like this instead of like this, like the typical book, because when you have like this and you close it, you're missing all this space that like this you have. So I have one that I found on Amazon for a great price. It's been sold out every time I recommend it. So I started adding in new ones that have the same exact style. So it's gonna be on that QR code. If you just scan it, it'll take you to all my favorite Amazon luggages that open up like this, because we're saying goodbye to the luggages that open up like this. But now I'd love to have your input. If you thought that the total was going to be more, go ahead and comment the arrow going up. And if you thought the total would be less, go ahead and comment the arrow down. I'm so intrigued and excited to read the comments. So go ahead, comment downstairs, hit the subscribe button if you want to see more of these videos, because like I always tell you, YouTube tells me how many people are subscribing from this exact video. So if you subscribe from this video, then I know that you guys are liking the transparency and liking to see the cost breakdown. And if this is something that you'd like to do too, then hopefully I'll see you somewhere around the world. Bye-bye.